Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we started a priority assignment and we will get back into that. Build-wise, nothing's changed. Oh yeah, I gotta mulch all that. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where to go with this. We're stonewalled behind having to unlock all these. I think that's one problem over time I've really grown to have with this, is certain builds get kneecapped super hard. Like, yeah, I would have just poured into heat damage, but I can't because I have to keep destroying friggin' containers. So I'm stuck just staring at these skills, just waiting, trying to gap fill with other ones at the moment that I may end up just backing and like respecking the build just to get rid of them. But gotta continue the assignment that for some reason stopped this time. Oh, we didn't get a little, like, hey, this is what's happening. We're just going into, yep, taking out 3 demagogues. Yeah, we'll just keep buying the damage up. It's not that big a deal. Okay, so I have a question for you, O glorious viewer. What looter shooters are even out anymore? I'm asking because I had watched... there was a video by I Hate Everything that was... It was essentially him hating Destiny Lightfall. That DLC. Rightfully so, the DLC sucked. It was tonally way different. The characters were dreadful. The voice acting sucked. There was a lot of problems and, like, nothing good going for it. That said, I had sat there and I thought about this. And I had said to a friend of mine, the problem is there isn't any competition anymore. Because when you think about it, looter shooters are looters and first-person shooters, or in some cases third-person shooters. Not like this falls into ARPG, like Diablo. And so, we have this weird thing where, what games are there? Saw those 2 relics, we'll peep those quick. Oh, they're more or less a combo. That is an option. We'll skip on it. But there's nothing available. Because what we used to have... Let's look at what games have come out. There's Borderlands, looter shooter. Those games have steadily been getting worse. The writing has gotten just terrible. And I mean, the only thing that saved Borderlands 2 was they let the guy who does the voice work for Handsome Jack do ad-lib. If he hadn't ad-libbed Handsome Jack into the character he was, we probably would have had a terrible character. Borderlands 3 is near unplayable simply because the Calypso twins are just horrendous. They're not even a fun villain, they're just annoying. And I can't see them really doing any better in a future game, plus we haven't heard anything. All we know is that they're doing a new bundle of the previous games altogether. So we have that. We have the Avengers game, which is dead. Mostly because they couldn't put out characters or content at a decent speed. We have Outriders, which is dead. Because I believe the studio still hasn't turned a profit on that game, sadly. I think that game was actually very well designed. I've yet to play it, but I've watched a lot of gameplay. And in general, it looks pretty good. The DLC seems like it's a little sparse. Looks like it allows for targeted farming, which is cool, but I'd rather have more random gen to it. I think targeted farming kind of takes away the fun of grinding. Because then you're going in with a set expectation, and when you don't get what you want, you get annoyed. And then you inadvertently turn it into a chore. Because you're like, oh, well, I'm gonna get this, so I just have to keep going, instead of just being like, yeah, I'm just gonna run these and have fun. But on top of that, we have Anthem, dead. That's never gonna make a return. EA, that company would rather lobotomize its entire staff than attempt to make a better version of a game that didn't do well. Because why would you learn from your mistakes and try to do better when you can never learn from your mistakes by simply avoiding genres you screw up in? That's how this works, right? But there's them. There's... God, there's not a lot. I can't even think of other looter shooters. Because they're few and far between, and all the competition for Destiny died. It wasn't because Destiny is the better game, it's because they managed to outlive them. Destiny has been on a steady decline over the years, and at this point they're essentially just the cockroach crawling out from the irradiated wastes of the genre. I don't count Warframe as a looter shooter because you're not looting guns, you're looting resources to make guns. And there's no RNG to your guns. When you make a Grakata, you make the Grakata. You make a Strun, you're making the Strun. You're not making a slightly modified variation or anything like that. It's, here is the weapon, you get the weapon. Okay, we have another mission we gotta run. Hey, our seasonal mission upgraded. Cool. I was waiting to hear about that. On the loading screen, I remembered two more looters. The Division, how I forgot that, I don't know, but I don't see that going very well because they're pivoting to extraction shooter when I think that genre is already on its way out. Mostly because it's a more hardcore genre, so you're already kind of limiting your player base. And it suffers from the same problem Destiny has of you just throw big numbers at enemies without real meaning behind the numbers. But then there's also the upcoming Suicide Squad game, Kill the Justice League, which I really think is gonna suffer the same pitfalls. I don't think anyone has really learned anything from each other. I think sci-fi is the best option for any and all of these kind of games, these looter shooters, because otherwise I think you kind of kneecap a lot of creativity, both in terms of weapon design and stuff like elemental damage. Because when you look at like Warframe, you have Fire Shock, Cold, Toxic, or Poison. Then you have Radiation, Magnetic, Viral, and Blast. Which is pretty cool, and gives you different opportunities. Different enemies can deal different damage types, you can have different resistances, a lot to work with. Destiny was just like, nah, Fisher-Price matched the color element to the shield. Past that, we don't really care. Avengers, they did the same thing as Anthem and did the whole, oh, it's a damage type and you can prime it and it'll do an effect. And the priming's cool. Granted, at least with Avengers, it was just like, oh yeah, cold colors and warm color elements prime and react to each other. So if you hit them with ice and then you hit them with fire, you deal a bunch of damage. If you hit them with shock and then you hit them with like PIM particles, it does a bunch of damage. That kind of color selection system, it's fine. Every damage type or every element has its own unique traits anyways, but there's an extra bonus. Borderlands, they just, I don't know what they're doing. Introduce slag, get rid of slag. Have like E-Tech weapons, like the old Iridian ones in Borderlands 1, but then get rid of those and introduce E-Tech. Then make E-Tech just like, hey, we're less of a unique thing and more of just like, hey, we do weird effects. But it's not like super weird to explain that it's literally Iridian weaponry, so it's normal guns with alien parts grafted to it. What parts are alien? I don't know. You can't see it on the model. I know I'm getting kind of grumpy, but it's just like, I just don't see it. I genuinely think Outriders was one of the best options with the system they had in play. Could it have been better? Oh yeah. But like their exotics, or whatever they had for the top tier legendary or whatever weapons, they looked cool. They had the random perks, they had a lot that was going for them. And I don't know what exactly caused the issues. If it was just a lack of sales, or if it was because their launch was a bit rough. No, I'm just... Oh, I just remembered another looter, not really a shooter, but a looter game. The Gotham Knights! Yeah! I just remembered that game existed because I remember seeing it on sale for like $20, and I was like, did they update this at all? And the last update was like April. And so I instantly went, oh, I guess it's dead then, if you don't have anything. Like, give me a roadmap, please. I'd buy the game if there was a roadmap, but without one, I'm just kind of looking at a game that's on its last legs. I wish there was someone else to challenge looter shooters. Someone's got to come along and do something new or actually learn. Because the genre... Realistically, the genre is kinda dying or dead. Like, there just isn't any options. And it's sad. Oh, they both led to here. Cultist Splinter Group was intercepted and taken out. The commissariat reports highly boosted morale among the local volunteers. Estimated life expectancy still below margin of error. And we still gotta deal with the demagogues. Hey, we can finally get flame weapon boosts. I think a big thing the looter shooter genre needs to do is actually get more in depth. I know games try to homogenize everything into flavorless, shapeless gruel so that everyone can take it in, but as we've seen with games like Elden Ring, some challenge is a very welcome thing for people. And I think it would go a long way. Learn from Elden Ring. The resistances and status build-up. You could, if you really want to, it may look like a lot, but you could have armor that has like 20 different element resistances, or you do like what Elden Ring has, where it's the 4 like robustness, resistance, something else, and something else. Essentially, external injuries, external afflictions, internal afflictions, mind effects, and then arcane, magical things like death. A system like that would be really good. You have the Destiny, here's your boots, chest piece, head, and gloves, and you just pick what you want. You could have the amulet ring system, whatever. I would say 4 rings and an amulet as a capstone. Amulets offer bigger things. Rings are more toned down, but still tangible bonuses. You do something like that. That is a very fitting and workable system that gives players a lot to work with. And you can throw in, at that point, you can throw in as many elements as you want. Whether it's 5 elements or 500, because you just categorize them. Look at the Souls games in general. Curse, petrification, death, those are all arcane. Those would be the robustness or whatever. That's all one category. Fast poison, slow poison, things like that. Internal affliction. Scarlet Rot, Plague, those would fall into that. Frostbite, Bleed, like a burn, an acid corrosion, those can all be external afflictions. Sleep, Berserk, Madness, all that, mental. You can just slap them in. It's not that difficult. If I can come up with stuff, you can't tell me other people haven't. And I get... No, I don't even get it. I was about to say, I get that it would be tough to implement for enemies, but no, you give them the same resistances. It'd be easy as hell. I'm stupid. It's a good, robust system. And then you can have, on top of status effects, you can have your normal, like, oh, fire, ice, shock, dark, pierce, bludgeon, slash resistances on armor. Simple as that. All the classics we know and love already implemented. Yes, you're cribbing a lot of notes from FromSoft, but they're good notes. I mean, if I'm gonna take ideas from another game, I'm really gonna be eyeballing, like, FromSoft, because they've shown time and again a very high level of competence in their design. Hey, we're finished! Cultist resistance annihilated, the war is over. What did they expect when they challenged the mighty Imperial war machine? The rest of the planet remains largely unaffected by the cultist insurgents. Planet audit is underway. Excellent, you are a worthy emissary of the God Emperor. Yay. Now let's go through all the... actually very low amount of loot we got, but we did get the heavy bolter. That's good. That was one of the weapons I wanted to pick up. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to swap out the las gun at this point. I have to check what these are. Okay, not the greatest. We'll actually do that. It's gonna be a bit of back and forth trying to get this stuff working, but it ought to work out pretty well. We don't have any poison effects, so this Signum is kind of moot. Shame, because it'd be good, but it doesn't really help us. That's actually pretty good, because we can use the Heat Vulnerability and Thunderbolt of Authority boosts. Yeah, we'll use it. Additional shields would be useful, but I do like the HP regen. That's really good. And being able to just get improved crit chance. For the moment, that's a big boost. We'll work with that. Perks. Ad hoc subjugation's really good. Adds vulnerability to target based on the type of critical hit. Close quarters gunnery. 25% range damage against targets within medium range. Not a big fan. If I was gonna grab one of, like, Artificer magazines is really good. Or Cull the Weak. Designated Marksman's good. All range weapons gain critical hit chance, strength, and damage bonus and tighter spread. That's not till level 59. Eternal Warrior is useful, but I also don't like... I don't like having a perk like that, because it's just like, oh, you're gonna give up potentially damage to not die? Heat sinks would be good. Yeah, I think for the time being, ad hoc subjugation, because we have no crit chance. Okay, never mind. Guess we're going close quarters gunnery, as much as I don't want that. We'll deal with it, it's fine. Passives, we're pouring into heat. There we go, that's gonna be good. Even consecrated capacitors could be really useful. Volatile output, I'm not big on it because it's just plus 15 additional base damage, and that's 15 flat. Superheated discharge, good. Overheated weapon cooldown speed, good if I overheat. Critical hits, cause burn, good. Mulch everything, because tragically I'm not going to need it, or by the time I really build into it, I'll be far out leveling it. And that is all for now. If you enjoy this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.